Hello everybody. We are looking at the screen. It looks good. Welcome everyone to this new setup. Hope everybody is all right. And just move it out here. That's okay. Put this here. Hello everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Live Tech Show number 105, which should have been last week, but it's this week. So of course today is the tech show where we answer questions, have the news of the last week, and just have a lot of fun. There's a nice chat room, a lot of nice people, and I hope that everybody will have fun. So yeah, last week it was so funny because last week I was ready for the show. I came home around 1 p.m. because I had things to do in the morning, so I didn't have time to prepare my news bulletin. Came around 1 p.m., 1:30, and I didn't have time to cook, so I went to a restaurant. That is the first time that I go there, and they had this special on, pasta with shrimps. I was like, okay, let's have that. Looks good. And so I eat that, and about, roughly half an hour before the show started feeling a little weird, and I had a headache. And I was like, okay, kind of weird, but not bad enough to not do the show. So I started doing everything I do and setting up for the show. And man, about 10 minutes before the show started, I got real sick. It was like crazy. And thank God it happened half an hour before the show, because if it had happened during the show, you would have seen me you get up and run towards the bathroom in a quarter of a second. It was crazy. So anyways, I rested. After that event, I went to bed and I said, okay, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna take it easy, and started feeling a little better like around maybe 6 or 7 p.m. I was still tired, and slowly got better. And even the next day, even on Wednesday, wasn't too bad, but I was still a little off. And I think I didn't eat or almost eat anything for at least 2 days. Every time I would eat a little something, I just, my body would say, nah, I don't want to have food right now, okay? So I started coming back really okay around Thursday. So cheers, this is coffee. I have coffee today. And nice to have all of you on board, by the way. So this is the new setup with 32-inch Sony TV that is plugged to a desktop, an HP desktop that's behind the screen. Also, this is my insider machine, which is below here, hidden. And of course, the retro gaming stuff. This is an Amiga 500. This is an Atari 1040 ST. And I'll have a Commodore 128 next to it in the next few days. So this will be the new setup. The new setup. And the reason why I wanted to do this setup is because for the most part, I would have to set up in the living room. But the problem is the living room is a place for, a lot of people. So what's happening is I would set up, I would do the shows, and then I would have to take everything out and, put everything back in my office. And I was like, I really want to do something that will be permanent. So I've set up, actually this TV I've had for a long time. It was in the bedroom, and the thing is, the bedroom is where I never watch TV. A lot of people watch TV before going to bed. I usually go to bed to sleep, and that's it. I never watch TV. So basically, I thought, you know what? That TV is unused. why not bring it over here and plug everything on it and just have my setup here. And over there is my my big desk that I plan to do something also with it. I've been throwing away tons of things, an old CRT, old printers. I just kept a laser printer, and I am in the middle of reorganizing. So there might be two setups, one here and eventually one on my desk over there, because I've got a really huge computer desk, and I'd like to also use it because it kind of looks nice and would make nice a nice visual for the shows. I've also been looking at colored lights, so that there could be some colored effect. For example, I'd like the background wall to be in specific colors. If I wanted green, if I wanted blue or whatever, I could change the background and just have the visual looking even better. So slowly but surely we are moving towards new space. And my office, since I stopped doing tech jobs, was barely used. I was here for the radio because I have my radio stuff here, but in general it was not used much. And I thought, well, you got this nice big room that you can do stuff in, and you can set up and just set up permanently. So now it's nice because the lights are set up permanent. So that means when I do the live shows, all I have to do is turn them on, and when the shows are done, I just turn them off. So it's kind of cool for that also. So setting up, and my office space is going to be used for something. It's going to be basically a TV studio for production of live shows and videos. So I hope you guys will enjoy the changes that I brought in my office. Hello everybody, nice to have you here. Tim Robinson, Tech Destroyer, Tech Lovers, hello there. What company I work for? I work for myself mostly. I'm self-employed. Right now my main revenue is YouTube. I do have a part-time job as a an outside observer of helping out and a consultant, if you want, for Microsoft Montreal. So all of that together. But my main income is really YouTube right now, and my views have been going skyrocketing. I this weekend I broke my back in. I'm just going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So Tech Lovers, hello there. Benjamin, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. Miss Lady Catherine, I received your donation, by the way. Thank you very much. To Albert Zappa, David Walker, Kirk Weber, Cool Tech, hello there. What do we have? Am I missing out on anyone? Sean Robinson, hello there. Nice to have you here. If I missed out on anybody, say hello, please. Christine Bowman, nice to have you here. And love you all, by the way. Love you all, by the way. So, Cycler39, hello there. Nice to have you here. So, anyways, I still have the voice of somebody that has just the end of the flu, and that I still have a scratchy voice. Plus the fact that yesterday was Microsoft Day, so after the Microsoft Day, there's a little Japanese karaoke next door, and so some of the guys in the team said, hey, you want to go to the karaoke, get a few drinks, and before we go home. So I sang a few songs yesterday, which explains why my voice is a little scratchy. I kind of overdid it maybe with a few songs, so that's why my voice is a little scratchy, but it was a lot of fun. Buster Brown, hello there, nice to have you here. And yes, it's Patch Tuesday today, and basically nice to have all of you here. Rick Sada, nice to have you here. So as I was saying for the YouTube stuff, my record. Hey, Ripple Pearls, love you. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, a few people have been telling me that even on the radio channel, they have not received a notification that YouTube sends usually, which is kind of weird. So yes, probably Tim. I probably can karaoke death metal. The song that made my voice a little scratchy is I sang Uprising by Muse, which I love doing as a song, but it requires a lot of voice, and that is the last song I sang yesterday. And by the end, I could see that my vocal cords were getting a little stressed. You know, I'm still a little bit into the flu, so. And anybody have questions or anything? Yes, helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com over here. Can you guys just add a question, because I'm wondering, can you guys read well what's written on the screen here? Because it's a smaller screen. We're just wondering if you guys can see it well. So yeah, David, I know, but it's kind of spur of the moment. And you know, when you have a beer or two, you're like, I don't know, you become Superman or something. So I thought, well, you know what? I think I'm okay to sing the well, I'm not talking on a phone, but on a big screen. On a big screen. Can you guys read, for example, the email at the bottom here? Can you guys read the email at the bottom? And hey, Douglas Elliott, nice to have you on board. So yeah, well, that's what I figured, probably only on full screen, but just wondered here if at least on a full screen it can be viewed. It's mostly that I wanted to know, because I know that, you know, on some, you know, and because the screen is smaller, I was thinking of probably changing the fonts to make them bigger and maybe bolder, so that they're easier to see, because I do realize that going from 50-inch to 32-inch does make a big difference. So it's kind of nice. Benjamin says default res on iPhone was 480p. That email was a little blurry, but after res to 1080p it's clear. Yeah, that's what I figured, because I figured that at 1080p it must be okay to read. But of course, you know, if you can't read it, make sure that you're at 1080p when you're streaming, because that's how you're going to see this at 480p. Even at 720, probably is very, very you know, the minimum aspect. So it's funny, because on the my record views, the highest number of views I've ever had in one day happened in 2015. When Windows 10 was about to be released, I had a huge spike in the views. And on that day, I actually had 373,000 views on only one day. Now, the thing is, this week, actually since the beginning of the year, the views have been going up a lot, and this month, February, views have been really going up. So this Saturday, last Saturday, I actually passed 300,000 views in one day, and I haven't done that in a long time. And it made me realize how I was really close to actually the record for views in one day. And I don't know what's happening with YouTube, but man, it's crazy. So anyways, I'll be checking that out. I'm gonna go and check out the show later on, and I'll look at it, watch it full screen here, and I'll adjust the you know, the fonts and the stuff here as to make sure that it's cool. So anyways, Saturday was 300, past 300. So it was really close to my record. Sunday was just below 300,000. And there's a lot of, even, you know, weekends are always higher views than weekdays on YouTube. And one of the things that I had noticed is last week was much higher views. But even yesterday, you know, I passed 250,000 views in one day. And I was like, wow. You know, so something's happening here. So even though monetization has gone down a little bit in the price of ads, it compensates a lot with the views that I got. So, you know, it's actually not bad of a month. It's a better month of February than last year by a good margin. So, you know, kind of nice. Kind of nice to have so much views. You know, it's like when you think about it, and you're like, man, you know, I get a just like yesterday, Monday. You know, just thinking. At some point, I was talking with the guys at the Microsoft team, and we were talking about YouTube. And one guy said, do you realize that 250,000 views in a day is a hell of a lot of views? And I kind of stopped and realized, you're kind of right. 250,000 views in one day is actually a lot of views. Of course, this is not just the Windows channel. It's all my channels together, which basically I've got 5 channels that are really, for example, when the new rules of YouTube are in effect for older channels on February 20th, my 5 main channels, the ones that I post regularly, of course, are all going to be you know, okay, and they're pretty much what drives the views anyway. So I don't expect to see much of a difference in views with, you know, the 10 other channels that I don't do nothing about, you know. Anyways, kind of fun. And so this is show 105, which was supposed to be last week. PayPal donations are accepted at paypal.me/shortwave. And patreon.com/radioandcomputers if you guys want to help me out. It is much appreciated. I've been now kind of leaving the donations there because I want to use them to, you know, for equipment, for all sorts of things, depending on what channel it comes from. And without your donations, I would not have been able to continue. And your donations are also helping out in reorganizing my office. So thanks, everybody. It's really nice to have you all on board. Alberta, really nice. Actually, I'm going back next week, and we are actually, it's very interesting because they analyzed the channels I have, what I've been doing wrong, what I'm doing okay. The guy was actually surprised at the number of views that I got, and he was like, "Well, you're kind of not that small of a YouTuber," because he was expecting me to be a very small YouTuber that was just barely at, you know, the threshold of help. And he looked at me and said, "Well, you're not that small of a YouTuber. Actually, you're bigger than, you know, you're bigger than the average YouTuber that I see." And I'm like, well, okay, you know, I consider myself a very small YouTuber compared to, you know, some of these guys and girls that have millions of followers. But still, you know, he made me realize, well, you know, it's been it's been you know, you're not bad at all. So he gave me some pointers and some stuff to look at, and next week we're going to take a look at other ways of promoting the channels, and even, you know, that's something I sometimes was thinking about. Eventually, maybe do some, you know, video ads to promote stuff that I do. So, well, you know, all sorts of things. Also, what's very nice is that now my channels are covered with help. So what has changed now is, you know, YouTube is that thing where you have a lot of difficulty actually getting help. It's always automated stuff. But because of my level, I subscribe to a plan of help where I can actually talk to someone. So if something would happen to a channel, I have an immediate you know, possibility of getting help from someone as fast as possible, so that things are kind of back normal. So all of that is interesting because it was really you know, and I told him, I said the most frustrating thing about YouTube is that you have the impression that there's nobody there to help you, never. And I said that is the most annoying thing any YouTuber will tell you. So he said, well, now you got help. So which is kind of cool, you know. And yes, the flu is darn bad this year. It's really crazy, and you guys be careful. If you get the flu, really take some rest, and it's a very, very bad flu. So okay. Well, the Olympics have now started, of course, and I'm sure some of you have seen the opening ceremonies. I did. It was really beautiful. I thought they were some of I actually find that it was some of the best and most beautiful opening ceremonies I've seen in a long time. And of course, Canada is up there in the medal count. I think we're third place now with 10 medals, something like that. So it's not bad. Canada's not doing too bad, actually. And so one of the things that happened on the Pyeongchang Olympics is while the opening ceremonies were actually live, there was hacking that was done at the system level. So the Olympics website was down, and even people that wanted to buy tickets for events and stuff like that, that didn't work. And it lasted about 12 hours where there was a lot of hacking going on and things happening. There was also possibly a DDoS, a distributed denial of service attack. So, you know, I think that's the kind of world we are now in. Major events and major websites will, you know, be you know, subject to hacking and to all sorts of problems on the internet now. So kind of you know, crazy. By the way, Sean Robinson, you say you have problems installing the update and that your PC hung while it was installing it. You know what? I would suggest to you to do a scan disk, because you might have some corrupt. You might have some corrupt and it's happened sometimes. Don't forget, Benjamin, it's paypal.me and not paypal.com. If you type paypal.com, it brings you back at the home page. But if you have a PayPal account, I'll just put it in the chat here. Simply send your donation to the email that you have in the chat room, the Yahoo email I just posted, glitourneau@yahoo.com. This you can send it there. It's the same place. But don't forget, a lot of people have the mistake of doing paypal.com/shortwave, and so maybe that's also the thing that's happening. Have you also, Sean? Have you waited for you know, enough time? Sometimes you wait for you know, 5 minutes, and might not be enough. So, and sometimes depending on the computer and what you're doing, it might take more time. You know, who knows? So as you see, Douglas Elliott says it paused. Sabo's Salt, nice to have you here. Cooltech says, best laptop for $1,000 for light video editing and heavy use. For $1,000, you should be able to get a Core i7. If you can get a Core i7 with, you know, a dedicated GPU, that is the thing that's important for light video editing. Even if it's light, try to get really a laptop at $1,000. You should be able to get an i7 with a dedicated graphics GPU in it. Around $1,000 they start to be interesting with that. So check that out maybe. I think that's what I would personally choose, by the way. So anyways, Olympics got hacked, and it's back to normal after 12 hours. Spring Creators Update. I wanted to talk about that last week. And MDK2, hello there, by the way. You are you should have them appear automatically, MDK2. At some point, you'll see you're going to have your updates show up. Or you can go to the settings panel and go to update and security and click the button check for updates. They should be available. They were released about 2 hours ago, but you know what, MDK2, sometimes updates are kind of deferred a little bit. It happens very often that not everybody has the updates immediately, and it happens that people see the updates only the next day. There's a lot of bug fixes, by the way, in this update. So if you guys have problems with something, there was a huge list. I saw a huge list of fixes that come with the cumulative update, and of course there's security updates for the browsers for different things. I didn't put the video yet, by the way, for the Patch Tuesday updates today, because the security blog post had not yet posted the details of what security and what the level of security and of the different updates and the information required. I wanted to wait for that information before I post the video of what's in today's Patch Tuesday. So bug fixes and some security stuff. So that's why you got to restart waiting, MDK2. Probably downloaded and it's just waiting for you to restart to have the computer update finally. Thank you, Benjamin. Nice to have you on board, by the way, and it's much appreciated for everybody that donated, by the way. Really, really cool. So I wanted to talk about this last week. It was sick, so I didn't talk about it. What do you guys think of Spring Creators Update? I mean, come on, Microsoft, you could do a better job. Actually, yesterday, when I was with the Microsoft team, we were kind of laughing our head off at how Microsoft is really bad in naming things. And it has, for me, what that name has as a major issue, is the fact that, Fall Creators Update, if you live in, the Southern Hemisphere in Australia, you're like, what the hell? What the hell? It's spring here. And now they're going to call it spring, maybe. And they're going to say, what the hell? It's fall. It's like, do you realize there's a Southern Hemisphere that is not in the same seasons? So anyways, I don't know. That is stupid. All I got to say. Spring Creators Update. But, Microsoft itself has not yet officially said anything. The name comes from the fact that when there was the bug bash, there was some code that some people saw and that referred to Spring Creators Update. Shoo, we'll see. Windows 10 S is dead. That's also something of last week, but I wanted to talk about it. Officially, the Windows 10 S version of Windows 10 is gone. It's over. They're not gonna have a separate version. Cool, Benjamin. Thank you very much. So basically, what's happening is that we will at some point have an update, and Windows 10 S becomes S mode within Windows 10. So even the home user will have S mode within Windows 10. The way it works is that the S mode will at some point appear. You will be able to go to S mode and come back to home depending on what you do. Now that for me is a much more intelligent way of doing it. having just a single version called Windows 10 S was not necessarily the good thing. So basically, the Windows 10 S mode now will be an interesting thing, because I think some organizations, maybe a business, might actually think that you know, S mode is good because it prevents everybody that would install desktop 32 apps, and let's face it, Windows 10 S mode will prevent viruses from actually getting into your system, because it can't allow any installs outside of the store. So there's a definite reason for S mode to exist. There's a definite reason. Hey Atawahinta, nice to have you on board. And no, they are not very internationally minded, and it's, you know, it's more of a kind of closed down system, you know, unfortunately. And nice to have you here. So S mode will be a mode that you can activate or get out of. And it's free for home users. So home users will be able to enable S mode or disable S mode, and it's going to be cool. Okay, I think it's okay to have that. I think that is the perfect way to do it. Where it's a little different, if you're on the Pro version, they will charge you $49. So on the Pro version, if you go from S mode to Pro, you'll have to pay $49. And Enterprise will have some pricing system, because Enterprise has its own pricing. And you know what? I get this comment all the time. You know, I see people that have computers at home and they have the Enterprise version, and then they come up to me and they say, well, you know, I don't like that, because if I get S mode I have to pay for. Yeah, but you have Enterprise version. You're not supposed to have an Enterprise version unless you're in a big business. So, you know, when I hear that, it's like, hey, you chose to get Enterprise version. You could have done quite well with just a home version, and that's free for home. So, you know, I would have given maybe free upgrade, or, you know, passage from S mode to Pro, rather than charge $49. But hey, it's Microsoft, and Microsoft sometimes, you know, it's a little nuts. That, and also we will have different versions. You know, what we have right now of Home and Pro and Enterprise and all of that, single language, all of that will be transformed in the next year. We'll have fewer versions of Windows, but they will be tied to the hardware you've got. So meaning that there are certain types of Windows 10 operating system that will be for certain hardware, and Windows 10, you know, more advanced features will be for other types of machines that are more powerful. That brings to the idea that there's one thing that I'm a little worried about, that new way of thinking. It's as if Microsoft is preparing to, for example, you know, right now most computers that are Core 2 or dual core or up, most of them could upgrade to Windows 10. And if you guys remember, last year there was an announcement, well, you know, Creators Update won't be for certain type of basic devices, tablets that don't have enough RAM or you know, have that type of processor. And now what I kind of see coming is, okay, we will now have the Redstone 5 update, and by the way, all of you people that have this type of hardware, you're not supported anymore. Meaning, you want to have that version of Windows 10, you'll have to buy a new computer. And I do see that coming. I kind of see that something is going to happen. So when you will at some point have an announcement that's going to say if you've got a 5, 6, 7-year-old computer, oh, by the way, next update, you're not getting it. So that is a little sad, although, of course, from the point where you will have that announcement and the time when the Windows 10 version you've got is not going to be supported anymore, you still got, a year and a half, approximately. But I kind of don't like the idea. But at the same time, one of the biggest problems that Windows 10 has a version of Windows that always has Windows 10 in the name. And basically, let me just check that out. That's interesting. Here it's all right. I don't know why. Here I see on my camera here I see this screen really well, and I can read Windows 10. So I don't know. Kind of weird. That's kind of weird. So that's weird. So anyways, Windows 10 being Windows 10, at some point I understand also that Microsoft has to kind of remove legacy stuff, stuff that's too old. They can't forever make Windows 10 compatible with old things. So I don't know. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. We'll see what the future brings with that for sure. In other news, we have apps that will have previews available. So Microsoft announced an app preview that will be available for everybody, so you don't have to be an insider or anything. At some point, some of the core apps of Windows 10, you'll get a little page like this. It's going to say, oh, do you want to preview our latest version of this app that has all sorts of new things? And you will basically be able to test it out, give your comments, and hopefully make apps better. Right now we're in the kind of a turning point where the Microsoft Store obviously doesn't work well, and obviously what was to be a fantastic ecosystem of universal Windows platform apps is not happening. And even Microsoft has kind of said this week, well, you know what, progressive web apps are coming, and without saying universal Windows platform apps are dead, they kind of pushed the progressive web apps, which will be the future. And frankly, it's a good idea because progressive web apps are all in a standard, meaning it works on every browser. It is really a standard that everybody will have, including Google and Apple. So it doesn't happen very often that everybody agrees upon one standard for something. And so I think it's a good idea for the progressive web apps for different things that you're going to do, and you're just going to do it within your browser or within some kind of ecosystem on the internet. So I think the idea of progressive web apps is actually really good. And the first version of Windows that will support progressive web apps, by the way, officially, is the Spring Creators Update that we'll get in the month of March, next month. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Pete C, nice to have you here. Zach Antle, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool to see everybody. Apart from that, we have HTTPS, secure HTTP. And one of the very interesting aspects that comes with this. So, gradually a lot of websites have decided to secure their websites, which is nice because when you secure a website, what happens is that everything from your computer, from your browser, to your to the website you're visiting is actually encrypted, which is nice. So that means nobody can see what's happening between your browser and the computer they're connected to. Unfortunately, there's a lot of websites that have not done it yet. There's a higher cost when you are securing your website because you need the certificates in order to secure the website, in order to be officially an HTTPS site. It costs a little more money, so some websites have not upgraded. And one of the things that is interesting here is I just look at one of the websites I visit every day, which is a news site, a local news site here in Quebec. And it's not upgraded to secure. It's still HTTP. And by the way, if you have an Android phone with Google Chrome, it started to display a red bar at the top telling you, oh, this website is not secure, by the way. Which it does give me on my Android phone when I actually go to my local news website. And it's funny because I'm thinking, well, will you do something about that? Because with Chrome 68, every website that's not HTTPS, it's not secure, will be marked as basically will be marked as something that you shouldn't go to. And the problem with that, and hello Alexander Herrick, nice to have you here. The problem with that is that it's gonna kind of, you know, I can, because I always put myself in a regular user that doesn't know much about computers. You know, I've been doing tech guy jobs for 20 years, and I totally understand the average computer user because of my tech job. And I can already see tons of people that are going to go to that news website if they don't upgrade, and they're going to say, hey, that website's dangerous now. Chrome tells me that there's, you know, no security and I don't know what to do. So I think there's going to really need to be a big push. And I understand that Google is forcing that intentionally. It's forcing that so that you actually really can, you know, have a secure visit of everywhere and every website that you go to. So, you know, that's kind of interesting because I don't know what's, you know, I can already see the face of a lot of people, and that means that, you know what, a lot of websites will need to actually go to secure mode. They'll have no choice. I mean, if you look at it here, if you look at your YouTube page right now at the top, you'll see that it's, you know, a secure YouTube page. It's HTTPS. So, you know, I think it's I understand. I think it stands that it will be, it has to be implemented, because I do believe in the fact that we do need to have a secure environment when we visit the web. There's a lot of people around the world, you know, that aren't necessarily, you know, even here in Canada and the UK and the United States, it's complicated, you know, already with all the snooping going on, and the government's trying to see what we do. It's even worse in some countries around the world. And I think by having HTTPS on every website is a very good idea, because, I mean, it's encrypted and you can't see what you're doing, really. So anyways, we'll see what happens with that. The magnifying thing around here is a lamp. It's actually a light. And the reason it has a magnifying glass is because for a long time I would do a lot of a lot of some electronics, like repairing little circuits or doing little electronic stuff. So with the magnifying glass in the lamp, you could easily see where you're soldering, and it's easier for the eyes. So hey Benjamin, sometimes it might be out of focus because you're losing 1080p. Don't forget about that, because here I'm looking at it's perfect, because I can see my screen. I can see myself in my screen here, and I see that it's very clear. So sometimes it's because the stream, maybe not a lot of data, we're missing some data. And sometimes the stream itself is gonna, you're gonna go down to 720 or 480p temporarily if there's not enough, or if you have slowdown of your internet connection and so on. But it looks good here, honestly. So, anyways, I'll be because this is the first show like this. I'll be looking at the video later today once it's at 1080p. To make sure that it's okay, but it might simply be because your internet has been throttled down a little bit on YouTube or something, and you lost 1080p. That's a possibility. Okay, what else do we have? Spying on our phones, of course. I mean, there's an interesting article that I've read, and it comes from a security company, and the first thing that the security company said is, oh, by the way, your phone is snooping on you like crazy, and they demonstrated that apps are actually snooping on us in ways that we don't even know, that are very borderline between really spying on us and just doing what you need to know because you need to know it for the purpose of the usability of your device. And one of the things that they want to do is implement a series of rules that everybody would have to abide to. They want to force every app maker and every smartphone maker to abide with their stores to a set of rules that you first of all will know perfectly what they are taking as of information when you use your device, and prevent kind of over snooping on you, basically. Because in some of the demonstrations and some of the apps that they've shown, including Facebook, and it's crazy that they snoop on you in such ways that it's just incredible, and they know way more about you than you would like. So I would like that. I think we are in a moment, because these little things have one major problem, is that they're always with us everywhere we go. So they're snooping in the computer, snooping on the PC at home. There's that, but this is another way, and a much more I'd say a much more dangerous snooping device, because it comes with you everywhere you go. I have this in my shirt pocket all the time. I go around town. Yesterday I was all around downtown. To give you guys an idea, Facebook, yesterday I went to a restaurant. I went to another place downtown where they have a piece of the Berlin Wall. And you know what? I took my phone out and I saw there was a little blinking because one app was asking me something. And I look at the app, and the app tells me, oh, by the way, you were at that restaurant. Would you like to fill out our little survey to help others know that what this is exactly? And then I went to the other place and it said, oh, You've been near Centre de Commerce Mondial. What is that place? And do you want to give comments about? And you're like, okay, you're really following me around. You're telling, you know that I've been to a gazillion different little places. And I'm like, huh. Where does the snooping stop with a device like this? And I think that's the question we really need to ask. It's considerable, the amount of snooping that all our devices are doing right now. So, crazy when you think about it. And I think a set of rules would be nice. A set of really, really good rules. You know, I mean, I understand that you can be followed for the purpose of being useful. You know, Google Maps. Of course, you gotta know where your phone is if you want to know where to go around you if you're lost. I like the fact that it will tell me, oh, by the way, you like pizza, and there's a pizza place right next to here that has 4 out of 5 stars and that people seem to enjoy. Yeah, I like that. That's the kind of thing that I'm okay with. But when it goes to the point of, you know, I mean, come on. Why does a game, for example, when you install it, in the, you know, things that it want to do, it wants to be able to access your contacts and your phone number. Why? No, I don't want that. You know, why does an app that doesn't take pictures and has nothing to do with pictures say, oh, can I have access to your photo library? Why? It's not a photo app. It's not an app that uses the camera. There's no profile pictures that I will put there. Why you're asking me to say yes to the photo app or the camera? You know, sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know. Tony Jones, there is no Windows 11. Totally fake. And until now, we are still into the Windows 11. Windows 10 is the last version of Windows, and there's still, everybody still agrees it's the last version of Windows. Nothing has changed for that. So don't believe any Windows 11 videos or anything. So, you know, it is the last version of Windows. So, oh really, great post. We got little tiny pieces of the Berlin Wall. Here at the downtown, at the Centre de Commerce Mondial, they have a really big chunk. It's higher than me. A really big chunk with all the graffitis. It's very, very, very nice. And it's nice to see. You know, it's a piece of history, and you have a sense when you pass next to it of, you know, all the people that had to live through that, and all the people that suffered through that, and you know, and the I think that it's also a way to show how the human race can really be idiot and really be, you know, really, really horrible with its own, you know, with its own population. Just crazy. What else do we have? So, oh, nice. You probably have the color that you have on it's probably because you see the part where there's some graffitis. Because over there you see a big chunk. It has. You see that it was on the inside wall, so it really looks just like you know, a huge kind of a huge cement block. But on the other side, which was the side where the population could go next to the wall, you have all the graffitis of that they did back then. Pretty amazing. Zaganto, my favorite food. Pizza is one food that I like a lot, but I am, I don't know, I'm pretty open-minded on the food thing, so I kind of eat pretty much everything. But if I would have a choice and I'm hungry and I'm near one of the places where I know pizza is great, I love pizza. There's a downtown here. There's a restaurant called Il Focolaio that is a pizza place, and it's a wood stove oven. The best pizza in Montreal is there. It's amazingly good. So every time I go there, I can tell you, it's gonna, it's I have to stop and eat there for sure. I use Google Maps a lot personally because I go around town a lot. By the way, Cool Tech says, "What's your favorite smartphone you want to buy?" Honestly, I've been so impressed and satisfied with my Galaxy S7. I probably will buy another Samsung phone, but next time will be the Note probably, because I want to have a bigger phone. I enjoyed this. It was bigger than my iPhone 5, and I want to have even bigger than this. I want to have a bigger screen. So, but not this year. You know what? My contract is ending now. So I can, I would be able to upgrade with a 2-year contract to something else, but I don't feel the need to upgrade right now because this S7 is still really good, still works very well, and still has great battery life. So I am thinking of waiting for the Note 10, because there's so many rumors of new things they want to implement in there that maybe that is one I want to wait for instead of getting the or the S9 or S9 Edge, or but it depends. We'll see the S9 and we'll see the Note this year. Maybe I'll find that it's enough improvement that I will want one, but right now I'm going to wait for the version 10 that seems to have a lot of cool stuff. For sure, but I'm going to stay with Samsung. I've been extremely happy with my S7, and you know what? I did enjoy my iPhones. I thought they were nice, but I think I have never loved the phone as much as my Galaxy S7. And I'm going to stay with Samsung probably. What else do we have? What else do we have? Onion and potato cakes. Huh. That must be good. That must be good. And MDK2 says, one kid I knew growing up had a dad who was stationed in Berlin when the wall went up. Wow. It is striking, absolutely. It is from graffiti, absolutely, Gripple Pearls. Do you know anything about what they do when they restore old movies for home video, like Criterion? I've always thought the way they do was so cool. Yeah, well, somewhat. They digitize all the movie the best way they can, and then they'll apply all sorts of filters to remove some of the old movies, especially old movies, those that were on the movie reel stuff. You got not only to digitize it, but you got to remove the some had scratches. There were all sorts of little things happening in the screen. They apply all sorts of filters to enhance color, to remove the graininess of the movie itself, because the good cameras of 50 years ago are not as good as cameras of today. So the image has a little bit of a grainy finish with it. So one that is striking, and we're talking about restoration. On Netflix, I watched the series World War II in color, which I believe is made by the BBC. And it's kind of nice because it's kind of cool to see in all of the, you know, the armies and everything when they put the footage, to see the colors, that it was probably what color everything was, what color, you know, the Nazi uniform was, and you know, the swastika and the people, and you know, when they're in fields and everything, and see the color of the landscape and everything. I thought it was kind of a nice way of bringing the content, and it's a nice documentary also to see. But you know, there's some nice stuff that you can do today. Zach Entol is thinking of getting a OnePlus. These are nice. The OnePlus is nice, I can tell you that. Yeah, that's why I do a lot of changes to my Samsung device. I apply a different manager. So right now I've got the Microsoft launcher, which is, it totally transforms your phone. It's a great thing. Before that, I had used the Google launcher, which is also very nice. Ripple Pro says was thinking to wait for the S10 to change. Yeah, I'm gonna wait, unless it's really a lot. There, you know, I don't think the S9 is that much different. You know, better camera, stuff like that. So rarely cool tech. In general, it's pretty fast, but it sometimes happens. There's a little bit of lag, cool tech, but I haven't really seen that much, honestly. So kind of interesting. Benjamin picked up an iPhone 8 Plus, coming from an iPhone 6, which is considerably smaller. The weight of the iPhone 8 Plus was off-putting, not comfortable at all holding with one hand. Hey, Mr. Volts, welcome aboard. But no real lag here. I wouldn't say there's really a lot of lag here. So, hey, that is an interesting part. Yeah, well, the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge has an amazing camera. I mean, that's my main camera. I post pictures all the time on my Facebook wall, and I take pictures, a lot of pictures. So many people look at my pictures and say, wow, your pictures are really beautiful. And it's like, yeah, the Samsung, the Galaxy S7 camera is just amazing. You know, for what I need to do with pictures, basically. So these are nice. J7, everything cool tech is they're nice devices, honestly. So in China, they are testing out glasses, apparently, in one of the Chinese cities that can actually immediately or almost identify who is in front of you. So the cops are using them because they can actually look at the people in the street and are able to identify every citizen. And when you think about it, there's a cool thing about it, because you're like, wow, this is kind of cool, but man, it's damn scary at the same time. I mean, can you guys imagine the cops in the street in a near future that's just going to have these glasses, and when they look at you, they know who you are, and they can see if you've been arrested, that's kind of scary. Totally scary. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Hey, Steve Rego, nice to have you here. Absolutely. I'm sure someday that's pretty much what cars are going to be. You'll have a rear, the rear view within the screen, instead of, like, you know, having a mirror. I'm pretty sure we're not that far off. There's already, you know, tons of cameras in some cars where, You could see what's happening in the back and everywhere. Last car that I rented, I mean, I could see everything. When we would be in reverse, we could see everything in the back. There was all the description of, well, if you are staying like this right now, that's where you're going exactly. And you're like, wow, this is crazy things. This is technology helping us a lot. And, you know, it's going to be interesting. Okay, so anyways, kind of scary when you think about it. But cops will be, you know, will be there. Redstone 5. Yeah, but you know what, Vaults? The difference here is that it's instantaneous. I mean, yes, there are cameras everywhere. But the thing is, you got to go and check out the camera in order to see somebody and know who you are. That changes the game a lot, because that, if you're in front of a cop, if you've been arrested, if you has anything happened, if you've been at the, you know, the police station for whatever, they can immediately see it. They immediately know it. And, you know, some cops might change attitude because of what they've just seen about you, while right now they don't know about it because the cameras are everywhere, but they would need to check the camera for them to know, oh, you were there and you have that problem. So it's a different thing. It's not live. It's afterwards. Oh, okay, that guy was, oh yeah, he's been arrested for this. When it's in front of you, they know it immediately. You know, just crazy. Redstone 5 coming up for insiders that will be in the skip ahead. So I don't agree, Vaults. There is a major difference in there. They will change attitude immediately against you, where right now, if they see you in the street, they have no idea who you are unless you've been at the police station for every week for the past year. They don't know who you are, and even if you've been arrested or had some rant of some sort, they don't know. You're a regular citizen mixed up with the other citizens. So there is a problem I see with that, because that's really live. So if you're on the skip ahead, maybe this week you will have a new build. So you'll be jumping over the March Spring Creators Update, and you'll be transported into the future with new features. Of course, skip ahead is not for the faint of heart, because we already see that even in the regular Insider. A lot of you are having problem with the latest build, and we're going to talk about that a little later in about 52 minutes in the Windows Insider show. So, you know. Cool Tech, you know what? I think privacy, there's a very thin line where privacy and convenience there's a very thin line where it meets. I like convenience, and I am not that guy that's going too crazy about what my phone is doing or my PC is doing in terms of privacy, but there's a limit where I would not want my privacy to be infringed upon. And it's very complex right now, but I do, you know, most people use convenience. Most people are actually at the convenience level. They rather have their phone or their device tell them whatever they want for very Because it's just cool. Oh yeah, okay, I know about that because my phone told me, or I was searching for something and oh, I had an ad. I always give the same example. I purchased a microwave oven, and I think for the next month and a half I had microwave oven ads in Facebook. Now, for me that's convenience. I rather if I'm to see ads, I'd rather have ads about something I'm interested in than ads about whatever, But so that's convenience. But of course, that also means you're giving away a bit of your own privacy. You're giving away a little bit of your own identity and knowing more about you. But I think, there's a thin line, and I think there's a place somewhere where all of that can coexist without infringing too much on your privacy. Tony Jones, so do you think they will do another creators update in September 2018, which is the summer creators update? No, I don't think I hope they're gonna move away from creators word, because come on, with creators update, they're kind of showing now by using it 3 times that they are not very creative themselves. So I think I hope they change the name for something else, and yeah, and it will be September, so it will be a fall thing probably again. Yep, they are removing the phone companion from the Windows 10 operating system, and it's happening because it's just totally unused, and it's mixing with other features. So for example, you can already link your phone with your PC. So there's some of the functionalities that come from that are also what Phone Companion was doing. So I think it's just, nobody uses it, and you can link your phone and have some of the features. Why are we keeping that thing in Windows 10? And I think that is pretty much what's happening. Pretty much, Eric Nevdal, nice to have you here. And whatever. Do you need to finish a dedicated school about computers to work as a tech guy? Okay, there are 2 types of tech guys that are running around town here. So because there's no official, some jobs require you to have or be part of an order of something. So like doctors, they need to be part of a association, if you want. And so here in Canada, there's no associations or anything of tech guys that you have to pay dues every year or things like that. That means 2 types of tech guys are roaming the streets. Those that have never gone to tech school or whatever, but are just really good with computers, that go around fixing computers. And those like me that have gone to school and that have had, I've got electronic diploma in electronics, in computers and all sorts of things. So there's really 2 types of person. Personally, I don't mind that there's no association of that, but what is sad is there's a lot of guys out there that actually think they know a lot, but they're actually idiots with computers. And so many times I went to fix computers of people that actually had another tech guy, and the other tech guy screwed up the computer instead of fixing it, or didn't know how to fix it. And when I get there, it's like, well, this is happening. Your hard drive's dead. And the first thing they're going to look at me and say, why the other tech guy didn't know that? And the answer was always, well, the other tech guy doesn't know what he's doing. And that's the bad part of maybe not having an association. But then again, it's not because you got a diploma in something that you're good at something. A paper is not telling you you're good. It's just a paper. The only place where a tech guy really needs his papers is if I go to work for a IT company or anything. Now, of course, they're going to ask me for all the certifications and the Microsoft stuff and whatever. But in general, if you decide you work for yourself, you don't need anything, honestly. Zach Antle, so one time on the Dell laptop, and one of the things that were pre-installed was a link to Amazon on the taskbar. Why? Because Amazon paid Dell. Very simple. Amazon paid Dell to have it there. This is what is happening a lot in computers that are made by these big giants, these big companies, HP, Dell. There's a lot of crapware. That's all the things that are pre-installed because they got an amount of money for Amazon to be in the taskbar. They got an amount of money for Norton 360 to be in the computer as the antivirus. They got an amount of money for that software to be there. So it actually lowers the price of the PC you're paying because the companies that want those software there paid already a price to be there. But it is annoying as hell, and I find it's really crapware, and I wish companies would stop doing that, because it's just, personally, the next computer I buy, I'm just gonna first thing I'm gonna do is scrap everything off of it and reinstall Windows 10 from scratch with nothing else, not the crap stuff that's already pre-installed. I've always hated that, and these big companies are annoying with that. And often it creates tons of problems, Hey, on the roads, you guys are gonna have a very interesting part. Yeah, well, it depends, Vaults. There are things that I think it's nice to have the association, but it's not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing, for sure. But so anyways, there's going to be autonomous cop cars that are going to actually give you tickets eventually. There was an interesting article about how some police departments, including New York Police Department, they want to actually buy autonomous cars that will roam the streets. And the only thing they're going to do is they'll have cameras everywhere, and every time they see someone with their car doing some maneuver that is illegal, you will get a ticket by mail. So this is kind of interesting. Autonomous cars are going to give you tickets, and of course, they're not going to necessarily be, written with police on it. They probably will be, anonymous cars, and they will just roam the streets and give you tickets. Technology. Just a quick rundown. I just wanted to say that LibreOffice by the Document Foundation has updated to a new version. So you guys should check it out if you have that. And I want to remind to everybody, because there's a lot of people that still use OpenOffice. And I would like to just stress out that it's much, much better to use LibreOffice, because OpenOffice hasn't been updated in a long time. It has many security flaws. And pretty much everybody that was working on the OpenOffice side is moved to LibreOffice. So LibreOffice has been, updated all the time. It's been, their security flaws have been fixed all the time. So I really recommend. And you know what? Honestly, for most people, I don't see why people would buy or subscribe to any Microsoft Office thingy. For most people, this does the job. It's totally free. If you really like it, you can give a donation. And you know what? It strikes me how so many people actually have purchased Microsoft Office for one specific thing. And when I look at it, it's like, well, you shouldn't have paid for Microsoft Office, or you shouldn't be subscribed to Office 365. You're wasting your money. That thing is going to do everything you need. And I think the majority of users would be able to use this and it would work fine. Where, you know, the real Office is required is when you really do a lot of exchange of documents. And when the documents have a lot of formatting in it. Okay, now you might need the real Microsoft Office. But apart from that, for most people, this is enough. And you're still on OpenOffice. I would totally recommend you move to LibreOffice for security reasons. And it's totally free. Totally free. And it is compatible, by the way, pretty much compatible with a lot of the Microsoft Office stuff. So if you have, you know, Word documents, if you have things, you know, Excel spreadsheets, they're not too complicated. They will open. They will open in LibreOffice. Yeah, Google Docs is not bad at all. Absolutely. Some people are mentioning it in the chat room. So really nice. LibreOffice. Okay, what do we have? And we're gonna go quick because we want to do a Windows Insider show at 5, and I want to have a 15-minute break at least. We have Tommy that has questions about buying his new computer. So you might want to buy a laptop. I might want to buy a laptop, and it was, you know, asking questions about, okay, but I've seen all sorts of things. Now, you know, 6th, 7th generation Intel, 8th generation Intel. If I buy an older generation Intel, it's still going to be powerful enough. Honestly, even if you're not at the latest generation, the chips are pretty powerful. And even if you take a 6th generation, Intel chip, well, it's still going to be plenty powerful, especially for what you were telling me. And, you know, I do understand that people will sometimes go back, will buy a PC that is, you know, like a 5th or 6th generation because it's much less expensive than the latest technology. But, you know, for what people do, honestly, for what, and for what you do, Tommy, by the way, it's quite all right. You know, it's going to be powerful, plenty powerful to do what you want. And don't forget, don't shy away from their AMD Ryzen CPUs. They're plenty powerful, and I get a lot of I see a lot of positive reviews and positive comments on the Ryzen CPUs. And you know what? For the first time, I think as a tech guy, for the first time ever, I actually am seriously thinking, why not go with an AMD Ryzen CPU? They're powerful. You'll have some of the latest technology with the AMD Ryzen, and you'll have more bang for the buck, meaning that Ryzen machine might actually be more powerful for the price you paid than the equivalent price paid for an Intel chip, because Intel chips are overpriced. I do feel they are overpriced. And so don't, you know, if you see an AMD Ryzen machine, you know what? You might actually have a really good machine in there. And it's quite recent technology, so it's going to be a fast computer. So that's something you should check for. Now, you've seen things as a dual core, quad core, and stuff like that. It refers to the number of cores within the processor, but there's a catch to that, okay? So dual core means there's 2 cores that can actually, you know, execute instructions in parallel, or 4 quad core, 4 cores that can actually execute, instructions at the same time together. But the catch is, if the software you're using is not made to use the cores, they're not used. So for example, if you have a quad core machine, use a 7-year-old software doing something, and you're wondering, well, it's not really faster than it used to be. Yeah, because that 7-year-old software might be using only a single core, It was not programmed to use the other cores without the software code checking and telling the software to use the other cores. There's just no, it's unused. So yeah, okay, it's nice to have it because a lot of the new software, including Windows 10 operating system, has all sorts of ways of using more cores. But and you want to, if you get a quad core, it's cool. You get a quad core. For the future, it will be a good reference. But there's a catch behind it, and so see whatever happens with your the money you have to spend. And one last thing, you were mentioning about donations, and you know what? One of the things I just want to stress out to everyone for the donations. If you are in a situation where you already have difficulty buying a new PC, for example, I don't want donations. Some people are capable of giving donations, and that's where it's cool. But I totally understand that there's tons of people out there that have difficulty, and obviously money sometimes is tight. And what I want to say here is, what? Don't worry about donations. It's not something you have to do. And I'd rather you take that money that you could give me as a donation and put it on that new machine you're going to buy, Tommy. Okay? Take that money and put it on the new machine instead. So, Okay, what else do we have? HP updates. There's a question about the HP updates, and I believe it's referred to because there are two things. There's two things about updates on HP machines. Very often you have the Windows updates, but there's also a piece of software that will update drivers and might even update the BIOS of the machine. So here the question is, well, I had that on my screen and it disappeared. Well, if you don't see it anywhere on your screen, one of the things that you should go to is go into your Start menu and look at the list of software of programs installed. Technically, you should have something under maybe the letter H that's called HP. And when you click there, you'll see that there's software, there's all sorts of things, and actually you might find HP Update within it. Another trick is, if you're on Windows, is in the search box, type HP Update. Technically, you should find and point to you, oh, okay, the software is here. You might, from what I understand, you probably just lost the link to it, the little thumbnail, but it's still installed and you still have it in the computer. So no, BIOS word should not scare you, Grateful Pros, especially if it's just to enable for booting to a specific device. You ain't changing anything. So, it's not like going into the BIOS or into the UEFI settings and starting to play around with it. That's a different thing. Calendar sync. Okay, Specter update for Intel processors. Somebody asked me. I do not have, or I wondered, will I have an update for my processor for the Specter fix? So, of course, everybody in Windows is fixed for Meltdown. But Specter is still unfixed because it's microcode that, for the most part, except for like HP updates or Dell updates stuff, some of them have actually installed Specter fix through it. We're still waiting for the correct code. There's Skylake had the Specter microcode this week, so any Skylake processor microcode is okay. And that is okay. But on the older generation there's still no official fix because there was a fix, but it's a broken fix that actually crashes the computer. So I'm not doing anything right now or any videos about it because I don't want to have some people install the bad software. But once I start seeing that older generations of the CPUs are having the fix and the fix is okay, I'll post the instructions and the links in how to know what processor you have and where to download the microcode that you'll need to update and fix your Specter flaw, because let's face it, as long as you don't have the Specter fix, you're still vulnerable, somewhat vulnerable to, you know, to hackers doing something. So you know, hang in there. I'm following the situation. I'm trying to every day find as much information I can about the microcode fix for Intel processors. And as soon as I see that it's pretty safe, I'll post a video and instructions on how to do it. Calendar sync between an iPhone and an Android phone. So basically, yeah, kind of false. So the what I was talking about, okay, calendar sync. So anyways, using an iPhone and an Android phone at the same time, you know what, just make sure, create a Gmail, and you probably have one. If you have an Android, you probably have a Gmail account because it asks you to create one if you didn't have one. And you know what, the syncing of the Gmail calendar is amazing. When you're on your iPhone, you can set up your Gmail account in the Mail app, and what's going to happen is it's going to actually tell you, oh, by the way, this is all that we can do with this email. One of them, you'll see a little slider for calendar. It will actually synchronize contacts, calendar. Make sure that it's on. And in your Android device, same thing, use the calendar for Gmail. It syncs fantastically well. It will sync your contacts, and between the two devices, Android and iPhone, that Gmail, that Google Calendar will synchronize really, really well between devices, and everything will be okay. Galaxy S7 or S8 update for the Specter flaw. It should be already on your device. I know that my S7 did receive the Specter fix with the January updates. So if you have the January updates on your S7 and S8, you're fixed. No problem. There's they cleaned that. So you should be okay. But make sure you have the latest version of your updates. Is very important. You should see in the package. So for example, if you go into your settings and you go down to About Device, and you will have software information. Software information. Sorry guys. At the bottom it says Android security patch level, and here it says January 1st, 2018. So if you got a January patch level update, your Specter flaw is fixed. If it doesn't say that, well, you have the update that you can actually create. So in your software information, when you go there, you'll be able to update. So you have software update just above the About Device. You got software update, and so just click manual updates to make sure you got the latest one. But if you've got the January fix, you've got the Specter fix for your S7 and S8 and any Android device, by the way. So if you have an Android phone or tablet and you go to the updates, if you need to have the January level updates installed on the device. You've got if you've got that installed, you're okay. If you've not yet been updated to the January, check manually for updates. You might have an update, but it hasn't installed yet. And yeah, Tim, I know. I would think March, somewhere around March. Last year was the month of March when we got Android 7. And so I would think that maybe March will give us. I hate waiting for those things so long. It's just crazy. I can't believe how that's bad. And so, you know, this was tech show number 105. Hope you guys enjoyed. Time passed fast today. We've been talking about different little things. Pretty cool. Sustained 40 views, which is higher than what I usually see for this channel, which is kind of cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for the donations during the show. It's much appreciated. I'm taking a break, 25 minutes. We'll head on to the Windows Insider channel, where we're gonna take a look at latest build 17093 and talk about different little things Insider. So hope that you guys will enjoy the show. We are here every Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2000 hours UTC. And yes, I got your email, Gripple Pearls. I'll answer to you personally because I haven't taken a look at it. One last thing also, I do have an email about Skype crashing, by the way. If you have freezes on Skype, there's different things that can make your Skype freeze. One of the things, make sure your PC is not overheating. So make sure that it's well ventilated, because when you do video, live video, you might actually be, your computer might be actually working harder. Make sure that it doesn't overheat, might freeze when it does that. Also, make sure you have the latest version of Skype installed. Very important. There's a lot of fixes in there. And by the way, there's a security flaw in Skype that they're not fixing because it's too complicated, which I find completely idiot. But apparently it's because they're pushing the next version, by the way. Anyways, the other thing to check for, make sure all of your drivers are updated. Your webcam driver, make sure it's the latest version. Anything that is related, it could even be the network driver. Sometimes, you know, they're sending so much data through the network that the network driver, your network adapter, might actually need an update, because maybe that's what's freezing your computer. But don't forget to update the webcam driver. It might be the driver for your webcam that freezes Skype also. And hopefully some of these tips will help you. And last but not least, remove, uninstall Skype from your computer. Try to find all the folders that are left behind and remove everything that might have settings. I actually should do a video on kind of finding how to find the different folders and things left behind when you actually uninstall software. There's always tons of things left behind. So thanks everybody. We're here every Tuesdays. Hope you enjoyed our show. And yeah, huge security flaw also, because the hackers can actually take full control of your PC. Patrick Manny, hello there, and why not head on to the Insider Show and talk to us in 20 minutes time. Thanks everybody for being great fans. Always nice to be here. And basically, yeah, not the one. Hello there. And it is a big issue because a lot of people use it daily. And it is a big flaw. Skype is quite popular as a piece of software. And it's really, especially the answer. Oh, well, it's so complex, we're not going to fix it. Oh, okay. Okay. Anyways, take care, everybody, and see you in 20 minutes on the Windows Insider Show. Bye-bye, everyone. Love you all. Stay safe, please. And see you next week for this show. And, of course, for those that wonder, Friday, 2000 hours UTC, we will have a radio show. Bye, everyone.